Hey everyone, so this is Kellen from Wizard Tricks. I got Mark with me too today. We are both pretty stoked about the update that we just got from Wizards Unite and Niantic, and we're gonna have a chat today about all those good things. So Mark, tell me your thoughts. What do you think initially? What's your initial reaction to all this?
Well, when I first sort of saw it pop up on our Discord, I just kind of didn't really believe it. I kind of thought it was a fake. And then when I started reading the news, I then double checked the URL to make sure it's not on a fake site, and I was just like, okay, this is actually happening. And then, yeah, I was at work at the time, and I was screaming on the inside, basically, in my desk.
Yeah, I can understand that. It would, if I'm sure if you let that out, people would come running.
Yeah, I think I've electrocuted myself or something. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. So, what's your favorite part about, like, what do you think is your favorite thing about the release? What's like the favorite feature that they're gonna have in the game that they've said it's gonna be there?
I'm like an old school. I used to play World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, so the whole raid system with the fortresses is kind of right up my alley.
Hmm.
That's really got me exciting because I've never seen anything like it in a mobile game. It's quite astounding. The team of five is a pretty good sized team, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's definitely something. I'm glad they integrated. I think they wanted something collaborative from the start, which I think was lacking a little bit from Pokemon Go. They really didn't have a lot of collaborative things in the game originally. So I think it's good that they're putting something in there to start with that is multiplayer.
It kind of feels like it's already caught up and gone beyond Pokemon Go, and it's not even released yet, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hype. It's cool to see other people outside of the Wizards Unite YouTuber community starting to show some excitement for the game, and not just be, oh, it's coming out at some point, but it actually being like it's happening. This is really cool. Everyone's really stoked.
Yeah, I was quite surprised a few people did joining our Discord that I never thought would ever join our Discord. It was quite, I had a bit of a fan geeking out moment there.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Reversal for sure. It was pretty cool to see him jump on board and get excited for the game. It was really cool, and definitely other shout outs from the Pokemon Go YouTubers in the community as well, which was pretty cool to see. So, what's your thoughts on one thing that stood out to me was the fact that it's going to be both Fantastic Beast and Harry Potter characters.
Yeah, I kind of like the mix because there was also that threat of it being Pokemon Go with beasts. We're all like, please no, please don't be a rehash of Pokemon Go with beasts.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
glad to see like familiar characters, and I think people who are not serious fans of the game are going to connect with the movies through it as well, and then they'll learn a little bit more, and they should catch up with us people who basically lived Harry Potter.
yeah, absolutely. It was it was really nice to see them include it in a way that made sense, and I talked about it in the video that I put up yesterday. I think it's good that they're mixing the two, even though there may not be as thorough of like a plot line. It'd be a little bit more broader than it actually being like a Fantastic Beast plot line or a Harry Potter plot line. I think overall it's beneficial for the game because it's not going to tie Niantic and tie the different companies that are involved with this project down in terms of trying to create a canon storyline.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen like if you try to go down the canon route, you can always end up in the fantastic, well, the Hogwarts mystery thing. You make one slight mistake and everyone jumps down your throat at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen some of that from people talking about the game already, being very concerned about keeping on track with canon. I think that what would be a really dangerous road to take.
I got very confused once when I was seeing like I think the first sort of GIF where it's with the spider doing the ridiculous, and there's Ron there, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
I thought it's supposed to be modern times, but this one looks like he was like at the end of the last movie, so I was getting a bit confused for a while. But then I
Yeah.
read about the whole time thing, the people being pulled out of place, and time. So I
Yeah.
thought, okay, it kind of makes sense now. And I think it's quite a good way of like, because if it was modern times, you couldn't have Dumbledore, you couldn't have Sirius, you couldn't have
Yeah.
Dobby, you know. So they got around that problem using this calamity, which is quite a clever way of doing it.
Yeah, it is clever, and I think it's going to. And they need to have some of the characters there, and it's great that they're going to figure out how to integrate them correctly into the game because it's important that I think for all different age groups of Harry Potter fans, all different levels of interest, all different people who started in different places. Like there's people who just got into Harry Potter because of the Fantastic Beasts movies. You know, they're newer Harry Potter fans. So I think having the different characters, both for newer fans, for older fans, for bigger fans, for more casual fans, is something that's I think going to benefit the casual players, which will be good, I think, overall for the game. Having more casual players is not a bad thing. I think it'll help, and having those characters is important.
What do you think? Have you looked at the spell casting stuff? How that all works, the mechanic?
I'm not surprised with what it looks like in terms of it does look like there's some swiping, which is good. It's a step up from the Pokemon Go system. It's not just tapping, so that's good. So I think they're gonna, it looks like it's mostly just swiping, but hopefully they'll do some more, I don't know, complex movements. But I think they need to keep it rather straightforward, which I think some people are going to be disappointed in because they want a very complex spell system where like you have to memorize specific. I think that's great, and I think for a hardcore player that's fun. It makes it challenging, but it's going to be very difficult for people who are more casual to start playing. So I think it's a good compromise. At least it's not tapping. I think that we have to keep it in that perspective where it maybe not be exactly what we wanted. It's not tapping.
I was actually quite, because I was initially, I love the mind of the having to remember everything. When I was actually looking at it, and it's kind of got a nice middle ground. I was looking at, I can't remember which article it was now, because I looked at all of the articles, and they were saying that it will measure, and I was just going through some of the footage now, just before this call actually, trying to work out how to do a guide on how to do the dueling system in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it does actually measure your speed and precision when you trace that
Really?
symbol. Yeah, so the faster, there's a little bar that goes up and down. So the slower you do it, it goes down. Then if you go off the line, it goes down further and it springs up again. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it does actually measure your speed and accuracy of the trace. So I think it's got a good middle ground.
That is a good middle ground. I agree. I didn't know that actually, so that's really cool that you mentioned that. I do think it's going to be, like you said, a good middle ground. 100% agree. And I think it's going to have something for both casual players and something for people who really want to get into it and master their spell usage. So I'm happy. I'm happy about that, and I think that there's one thing I noticed about the update that they just put out is that there's so much. There really is a ton of stuff that they talked about, and a lot of different types of features and things that you'll be able to do. And I think we'll get some of the different movements, some of the different types of configurations with what you have to do in the game through like taking care of magical creatures or doing there's battling, but there's also opening up port keys and different things like that. So I think you're actually going to see a very full utilization of different types of actions you have to do.
Yeah, I want to play tomorrow. I think it's finished by the look of it too. I'm well happy to play with it.
Yeah.
Another thing was what I was hoping for was the potions mechanic. This is assuming, of course, that IGN and everything else that they write is actually true. But they were saying, so you can collect potion ingredients as you go around, so they spawn.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can combine them to make defined potions. And that one guy was saying that you could actually possibly make your own by putting different things together and discovering new things. So it's like, I guess that's the equivalent to memorizing the spell in complexity. It's like, how do you make a potion out of just random stuff you're finding on walking around, you know?
It's like home cooking, just like figure out what's in the pantry and put it together and hope it tastes good.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if you can test it on another character other than yourself, you know.
I mean, I think that's cool. I bet there may be just certain potions that are good that come out of that too. That you have to, it's for you to find out. It's for the community to find out, and I think that's cool. That's something that I think will be something that we probably analyze and try to figure out what kind of potions you can make and try to figure out. It's like a secret menu of potions.
Yeah, if you get it wrong, you lose all your energy.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's right. That's poisonous.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's interesting too with the different locations in the game having to recharge your energies. Similar, kind of like Pokemon Go, but in a different, unique way where you have to have energy to cast your spells, and you need to visit these different. I think they call them like hotels or something like that. I forget what they call them. It's like some sort of like house or something where you can recharge your spell casting ability. I thought that was a good use of real world locations. The one thing I didn't see on that is how they were going to really use as many real world locations, kind of like the Pokestop. There didn't seem to be a ton, besides for what I just mentioned, there didn't seem to be a ton of reason to go to one.
Yeah, I think that's primarily to help rural play, I think. Because if you're gonna, one type is the fortress, which you're gonna need 5 of you anyway. So you're gonna have to all meet up somewhere. So you're gonna have to be planning to go distance anyway. So I think that's kind of maybe geared to help rural play a little bit that way.
I think you're totally right. I mean, if there's not as big of a need to use a stop or use a hotel or whatever they're calling it, then rule players are going to have not as much of, I'll say this, not as big of a disadvantage as they do have in Pokemon Go. Yeah, totally. I think that's actually really smart for them to do, to decrease the dependency on that, and we'll have to see too. I think there will be some things like the magic creatures. I feel like the rule players are probably going to be affected by that, and maybe some of the port keys, but maybe less affected by being able to play regularly because of the Pokestop.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'll be able to test it because I kind of live in a semi-rural place and I work in a big town, so I can kind of see the contrast with a bit of that.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see what you figure out when you're starting to play. That'll be really interesting. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I like the port key idea. So you have to walk I can't remember the name of that box thing.
Yeah,
it was that case that Remus Lupin had, when he packed up to leave Hogwarts. That's the name. That's the name of the case, which I had to Google. I didn't know off the top of my head. So I think the idea of being able to go and dive into like Umbridge's office and just having a rummage around for bonus items is pretty cool.
It is cool. I think that's such a awesome way for them to use an AR system. I think it's super clever because I mean everyone wants to go into the world of Harry Potter, and I think that's such a clever way of allowing people to literally step in to the world of Harry Potter. Going from a park right into some sort of magical location.
I think it's very smart because we're saying because all Hogwarts stuff is all set up in Scotland. How am I going to go to Hogwarts without some sort of like weird spoofing mechanic? And it's a very clever way of doing that, I think. So you could be in the States and you could feel like you're actually going to a Hogwarts location without actually feel like it's breaking you out of the AR environment. Hard to explain, but you still feel immersed when you go there. It doesn't feel false, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's such. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, you could literally just travel, and I think they're going to be creative at this. And I think as they go, they'll build more of that into the game. I can really see them taking that aspect of the game and just blowing it up as they go, different traveling to different places, using it as events. Like you could unlock, or the community could unlock different um, eh, locations that you can travel to via Portkey. You know, there's a ton that they could do, especially around events, around things that they need to do. I mean, we talk about like Go Fest. I mean, they could use it as an entrance when you're going into to like Harry Potter Fest or whatever they're going to call it, Wizards Unite Fest. They're going through a port key to be able to enter into the into it, or different events that they do around the world. Using port keys to make that possible, or even using port keys for people who can't attend events is, I think, also a great way to do it. They always do something worldwide when they're doing one of these large events. If they could use port keys to get people a little bit more excited, internationally for these events, that for everyone who can't make it, because they can go through a port key and they can kind of go into a similar experience that people at the event are actually able to experience.
Yeah, there's definitely an event, because there's, I think I was on one of the menu screens, bottom right hand corner, there was a little calendar and it said events on it. So that's even built as part of the UI already. It's kind of sitting there. I don't know how much they've actually developed it, but yeah, they're definitely doing a lot of events, I'm sure of that. Probably to expand the storyline if it goes the way Ingress does.
Mm-hmm.
If you participate in an event, you then solve part of the calamity, and then something else will unlock part of the story or something.
Yeah, I could definitely see it doing something similar to Ingress in that regard, in terms of progression versus Pokemon Go, where there's really no plot in Pokemon Go. There's really nothing. But in Ingress there is, and they definitely have shown that they're going to have some sort of plot. It's not like, I think with Pokemon Go, it's just the plot is to catch them all. Like that's what the plot is, in in the TV show and then the games and everything. Like, is to catch them all and to be the best trainer. It's pretty straightforward. But with Ingress, there is definitely more going on, and they've set it up with the task force and the different things, the calamity. They have shown that there is going to be some sort of generalized storyline. It's not going to be as deep, I don't think, as some people thought it would when we were trying to discuss, is it going to be Fantastic Beasts or Harry Potter, and is it going to like be around like after they were out of school, and be super specific like that. But I think there'll be a general guiding plot line.
Yeah, I think we'll have a couple of sort of famous names. I mean, we've had a few names pop up already, haven't we?
Yeah.
Secrecy stuff. So I think we'll get used to those names and coming up in the storyline.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you think, and maybe this is a good one to end on, do you think that there will be teams, and if so, what kind of teams do you think there will be?
Oh, see, I didn't think that would. I mean, our classes, so the auras and the professors and the magizoologists, I think it may stay there.
Mm-hmm.
It could be quite funny if they did do a complete U-turn and then make someone who could make all of a sudden, like a year down the line, you could all of a sudden become on the dark side, on the calamity side, and just completely throw everybody off.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, I'm edging that it's not going to be team-based. I think they might use houses for something, maybe plotline. But
yeah,
I think it could be quite united.
Yeah, I didn't see in the article anyways, and I think there's other stuff that's come out, but there was no mention of that I saw in the article. They didn't talk about that at all, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I was going on the whole route of thinking it wouldn't be a team. Ever since the 3-1s came out,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like, that's pretty much solved. It's probably going to be no team. And I think it would be different because the previous 2 games have always had teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is quite a nice change.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I'm super excited, and I'm really glad we were able to talk about it because I was like, there's so much good stuff to go through. Like, they released so much, which is really nice that they really put a lot of content out there and what they're going to be doing and some actual video of the gameplay. I think it's something, we've all been waiting for a long time, and it's good to finally see it. And I think we could get the game relatively soon. I mean, I feel like it could drop any day now.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. We could just like
Another
check
heart
our phones.
attack.
We're like, you can go out. It's gonna be out tomorrow. Like, get ready. So,
Next
because
emergency holiday then.
yeah, I know. Let's just start. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I think we're ready. All right. Well, cool. Thanks for hanging out with me today and giving this a chat. I'm glad we got your reaction and talked about some of these points. I think there was some really interesting thoughts there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool, man. Well, I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna do more of these, so keep an eye out.